Alright, this is a science experiment. Maybe it went right, I don't know. So, I took an old crusty asetek unit that was like 15, 20 years old. I don't know how old it was. I know it came from at least like 2006, 2007 maybe. I don't know when they started making these things. That had to be one of the first ones. This one actually has a copper radiator. And it's getting the bubbles out now. I just picked up this crappy little tubing today when I was shopping for other stuff for a better project I'm doing. And this was just like, hey, I wonder if I can fix this asetek. Well, this is the part I'm worried about leaking, because the O-ring was pretty crusty, dried out, just awful. But I kept it anyway because I didn't have another one on hand. And I just put so much silicone in there. I mean, I packed that ring where all the connectors go with silicone. And the little plastic barbs were still good to connect the hose in here. But they were pretty loose, so I used a combination of plumbing tape and crap loads of silicone to jam them in there real good. And they don't seem to be leaking. I'll know probably after a couple hours if I see any drips of water. I really don't know. It was leaking bad earlier. I've taken this thing apart like 5 times now, but this time I've jammed it so full of shit. You can still see the air bubbles coming through. We weren't sure it was going to prime. It was a pain in the ass to get this pump primed. But we had to like lift up this reservoir that we made and try to get that. Once the water got into there though, it started flowing, and it's kicked out most of the air bubbles already. There's a couple drips of water on the hose. That's because we filled this thing up in the bathroom. We're just flushing it basically right now anyway. We're not. This is not distilled water. Well, it should be. This is tap water because we weren't even sure this thing was going to even work. So we don't really care if it gets grimy and nasty. Actually, that might be a fun experiment in its own. Let's see how long this thing gets nasty with tap water. But we'll probably take it apart before that anyway. We're not going to put this probably on any electronics. We just wanted to see if we could make it work. I mean, maybe a month from now, if this thing if actually doesn't leak or cause any problems, maybe we'll actually put real distilled water in there. Maybe a little piece of silver in there or something. I don't know. I was trying to figure out which side was the inlet and the outlet, so I marked one of the hoses with tape, and it turns out that this is the outlet. So that's the outlet side of the pump. I'm really surprised this pump even worked at all. So the other day when I took this thing apart, I tested it and I was like, damn, that thing is spinning. All right. So I just had this thing hooked into my power supply on my own computer, which is actually kicking ass at folding right now. But I'm tired of sitting around waiting on this thing. So yeah, it's a fun little. There's a drop of water on the tube. I think that's actually coming from my reservoir. Yeah, like, even though I got so much putty on the reservoir, it's still blowing past it because all that air bubbles pressure. I'm sure it's pressurized. Once the air started coming out, I might go back to Lowe's. They had a couple like $2 fittings I could put on here, like actual compression fittings. I was surprised. I guess it was like aquarium stuff I was looking at. Maybe I really don't know maybe dishwasher stuff. Some guy was in there like getting parts for his dishwasher, he said, but I was like, hey, that tubing looks like the size it'll fit on those barbs. Sure enough, exact fit. Uh-oh. Got a little water coming down there. I thought for sure these wouldn't leak because they're on there so goddamn tight. That's not gonna be good. But then again, I don't think this is ever gonna cool any electronics. So We'll just dry it off. It might be left over from when I filled this thing in the bathroom. We tried to dry it as good as we could. There's always, there's still water spots on here from us screwing around. Me and Ethan having a damn water fight in the bathroom trying to fill this damn thing up, and then when we walked it over here, we were bouncing into each other and then trying to get this thing primed. We had this thing lifting up, and of course it's leaking out where my putty is because the hoses got shifted around. So we kind of got water flowing everywhere, but not in my computer. Anyway, signing off.